Thank you.
Does that make a difference?
Yes,
Yes? Okay.
Thank you very much. That was Susan Floyd, our kumuhula for our halau, Lauhula na Lake Kupua of Kauai. And it's my great honor and pleasure to greet you all here today at this very beautiful and heartfelt memorial celebration of life for Roger Harris. And I would like to introduce our friend and mentor, Serge Kahili King. For those of you who don't know, Serge is the founder and the director of Huna International, which is actually the founder of our halau, Lahula na Le Kupua o Kauai. And a lot of the people here are from the halau, and we're going to be performing for all of you later. And Serge lived here for 20 years and then moved to the Big Island in 2006. And and he's lived on the Big Island now for 20 years, be 20 years. And with his wife Gloria, Gloria is the she's the power behind the scene. Gloria is a wonderful healer and leader, and when I really have issues, I call Gloria too. And my name is Fern Merle Jones, and I'm on the board of directors of an international, along with my husband Michael, and any other board members here? Susan, and Surgeon Gloria. And so now, Huna International is centered. Its headquarters is on the Big Island, but we are an out branch and doing the work of healing and sharing the philosophy of Huna. And so without further ado, I'd like to turn this over to Serge, who's going to be leading this. And Serge was a very close friend of Roger's, as well as Diane's. They all lived on the Big Island for many years together. And so this is Serge Kahili King.
Yes, my name is Serge Kahili King, but for those of you not too familiar with that, I'm not Hawaiian by birth. I'll share that. I am Hawaiian by adoption. And what is interesting in this beautiful place here, you see that mountain over there's a valley. The first mountain in the line there is a valley before the big mountain. In that valley is where the Kahili family used to live. And after the World War ended, then a lot of Hawaiians from the whole states moved to mostly California, but a lot of other places on the mainland. And there, where when I was 18, I met with the Kahili family, and I was adopted into their family, which is where the Serge Kahili comes from. So that's my background with this. What I'm going to do right now is a little bit of talking and a small short chant before we move out along there to what we're going to do in the remains of a great friend. First of all, there are all different kinds of ways of thinking about living and dying, life and death. Everybody has a right to their own way of thinking, which way they decide or which way they've been taught. So there is no one right way, but there are different ways that different people have of thinking and of sharing and of telling about it. So what I'm going to do is an ancient Hawaiian chant about this kind of thing we're here for. And at the end of that chant, then the others in charge can lead us out to where we're going to do it. So the chant is not very long, but I'll explain it in English when I finish it. E moe ale, la ika hikokina, ika mohana, kamohana ho honu, eli ho ikekai, ekai pahiwa, ekeko mohana, ayakala, e moe moea. That's so close. Dream a good dream. The sun is in the west. Far, far in the west. Going into the ocean. The deep ocean. The sacred ocean. Dream a good dream. Mama.
Right. So we've learned many chants and many experiences and adventures with Serge and Gloria when they lived here on the island. Michael and I joined the organization in 1988, and we were ordained to be leaders, Alakai, in the organization in 1989. And then I had the great privilege of traveling with these people to Europe on several occasions and other places where we did trainings and did healings and did a lot of work. And Susan, of course, developed into the master practitioner of Lomi Lomi massage, which several people here have studied with her, and I did as well. And I traveled with her also as her assistant and traveled to Europe. And then I'm just going to give you a little background because I don't know what we were going to do now until we move out there. Where's Jenna?
We're watching for the canoe to come.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the canoe that's already here.
No.
They're bringing
We'll
it
be
to
right
me.
there. They're gonna come all the way
All
around.
right. Should we talk a little bit longer before we walk out to the pier?
You absolutely can. We are going to walk out there. I haven't even seen him in the Ba'a yet, so we have time.
Okay, good. So I'm going to ask Susan, is there anything you want to talk about the early years of Una International here? About Roger.
But I thought that was part of the remembrance.
Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about Roger later.
So next is
When we come back.
Pico Pico.
That's,
Pico breathing.
we can do pico breathing. Like that. Yeah.
No, these.
Do you want to leave pico breathing?
Sure, pico breathing. There are a lot of techniques that we teach. A lot of techniques for self-healing, a lot of techniques for self-healing, a lot of techniques for helping to heal others and helping others heal themselves. And one of the principal things to do is very, very simple, and it's called pico. And this in Hawaiian refers to putting your attention on a specific part of something or spot of something. So one of the means of pico is you inhale with your attention on the top of your head and exhale with your attention below your feet. What happens when you're doing this and you're shifting your attention is that the natural energy of your body moves from higher up down through your body to where you're putting it for the second exhale. And then you can make it even shorter for doing different kinds of healing of your body itself. When you do a pico, you start with attention on a place that hurts or that isn't functioning, and then you put your attention on something soft and willing to accept energy, like the ground, the sky, the tree, as you exhale. And then there's a movement toward that which relieves tension, which greatly helps the healing. So that's pico.
Well, let's just.
Let's do a pico. From up to below and from inward to outward. All right. Put your attention on top of your head. Take a nice deep breath. Put your attention below your feet in the center and exhale into the earth. Put your attention on your navel. Nice deep breath. Put your attention on this group of people in this area that we're in as you exhale. That's the second speaker. If you have a place on your body or a situation in life that you think needs healing or relaxing, right now, make it your choice. Inhale with your attention on that. Exhale on something beautiful, soft, wonderful. Fine. Do as many of those as you like. We'll settle for 2 or 3 here before we get into what comes next.
About us giving them an idea of Valley High. So we don't have to do it. Place that
Well, this is, what we do is a form of shamanism, Hawaiian shamanism, which means that we deal with a lot of things in this world, outer world, and with things in the inner world. And there's a place that's in tradition here in Hawaii and the Pacific. You may even have seen the movie. It's called Bali High. And for the Polynesians, that's a real place in the invisible world, invisible to us, but it's just really close. So that's one of the practices that we have, is how to visit Bali High and not only help, but learn.
often people who have passed away often we meet people who have passed away that may not have known why they died or where they were, and we help them to find their way.
So one of the things those of us who have know how to use this for a while is to see how Roger is doing.
So if you feel aligned to doing that, or you could also communicate with other people who may have departed. We're dealing in ideas of no time. So all time is now. So it doesn't matter if you have a relative who passed away 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, or last week. You can connect with their spirit in Valley High just by your intention of doing that. So that's one of the beautiful things about Huna, is that it is very open and limitless. And so if you want to right now, you can do some of that pico breathing, and you can allow yourself to have some time to go to Valley High. You can fly, you can go by boat, you can just transport yourself. It's one of those things. In Huna, you can just be there. So whatever you need to be there, if it needs to have any effort or not. So you can do some pico breathing. So inhale with your attention at the top of your head. Exhale with your attention below your feet, just to get a little bit of grounded here. Do that once or twice. Then you can inhale with your attention. Let's just do it a different pico. Let's inhale with our attention at our heart. And let's exhale with our attention going to this magical place called Valley High. And it can look like anything that you imagine it to look like. It can be. So inhale with your attention at your heart, and exhale with your attention at Valley High. And when you feel like you're at Valley High, you can connect with the spirit of Roger, check in on him, see how he's doing, especially if you're somebody who knew him. But if you're somebody who didn't know him, or you might have a calling, you might feel a calling to check in with your mother, your father, your grandmother, somebody else in your family, child, somebody who has passed away, who you feel particularly attuned to connecting with, and allow yourself to just take a moment to see them. How are they doing? What are they doing? And some part of their spirit will connect with you. if they don't connect with you, you won't have an experience. If you're having an experience, you're connecting with them. So you can take that time and make that connection. All time is now. No past, no future. Just this very moment. In this very moment, connect with those that you love and care about. They may not be with us in this reality. They live in another direction, is what we say in Hawaiian. When you pass, you live in another direction. You just take a couple of moments and know that you can always come back to this. You can always come back to this space when you need to or want to. And then allow your spirit to come back. Inhale at belly high. Exhale here and now in your heart. Inhale in your heart. Exhale below your feet. And here now. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay.
You also imagine a beautiful field of love right here around all of us and give it as a gift to everyone here. Mama.
In 2002, and we met about a year later. We are here in this beautiful place today that Roger loved to say goodbye. When I think of you, Roger, I always remember how you loved Hawaii, how you loved Honolulu in particular, and all the times we spent at the ocean together.
Loving God, help us to remember that you were always beside us. Thank you for bringing Roger to Diane and to our family. In life and in death, it is in you that we find ultimate peace and love. We pray that Roger may rest easy and move gently with the ebb and flow of the sea. He will be in our hearts forever. Amen.
Father in heaven, thank you for the opportunity to gather together in the middle of the beauty of your creation today to celebrate Roger's life. We thank you for the love that we share with him, for the influence that that he had on each of our lives, and the memories that we'll forever hold dear of times with him. Thank you for all that you give us.
With love, we let you go, Roger. We love you, we miss you, but we are at peace.
All right, representing this, I just want to mention three things that stand out in my memories. One is how Roger and Diane used to go out with us hiking. And I have a beautiful photograph of two of them at Rainbow Falls. And they were over on our side of the island, on the big island, on the Hilo side, right? So I remember that. I can remember also, we used to share a lot of parties together. Sometimes they'd be at our place in Kapoho, and sometimes we'd be at theirs. That was a wonderful time of sharing back and forth. See, I mentioned the hikes and I mentioned the sharing. Pretty much that I'll share right now. So I'm going to pass it on.
Aloha, everybody.
Aloha.
Well, my fondest memory of Roger, he would be up early and dressed in his real slick bicycle. And he would ride by our cottage, and I'd be on the lanai, and I'd always wave to Roger. Okay, have a nice bike ride. And off he'd go. He used to ride his bike for miles. And he always was smiling. That's such a good boy. And like Serge said, we did a lot of gatherings together on the Big Island. And the Big Island is really big compared to Kauai. And so you can ride your bike for miles and never...
Can't really hear you.
Keep the mic right near your mouth.
Okay. So anyway, we always enjoyed getting together with Diane and Roger for parties and all the good fun stuff.
Mahalo.
I remember Diane and Roger from Kauai. I visited them once on the Big Island. What stands out to me is Roger was always so kind. I picked him up at the airport one day. Diane was on the mainland, and underneath my car something was falling off. I don't know what it was. But anyway, instead of going right home, he said, "Let me fix that." And he just got off a flight. And so we pulled up and he was so happy. And he went and he tied it up for me till I could get it to a mechanic and fix it. So that was really wonderful. Also, I've shared many wonderful times with with both of them. But that stands out in my mind because he was still so positive. I would have been dragging and maybe helped someone, but I would have been dragging. But his energy was just very, very up there and positive all the time.
Mahalo to you.
I have to give it away.
I did not know Roger from a long time ago. I just met him as he started in the progression of his disease and helped Diane find people to help care for him. I knew that from stories that I had heard from other people who knew them, and him in particular, that he was a very generous and giving person, and was often doing things for numerous people all around. And then I saw him as his progression, where he slowly was not able to do things for himself. And I kept reminding him, you have done so much for so many. This is your time to really grow the part of you that can receive, because I know that was really hard for him. And but that attitude that you spoke about, he kept all through. And what he had was, I think, one of the worst diseases. I mean, maybe ALS is a little worse, but it's hard to say. And it was physically, I remember Diane saying, I need some big, strong people to help get him here and there. And so I helped her find that. But then also what we learned is if you counterbalanced his weight, because he was a big guy, and that even sometimes these little Filipino women or whatever, could get him to do what they needed him to do. Especially at the end, getting him in and out of the shower, it was quite an event, and for near the end. And always, he was so grateful. Every time you did anything, he would say thank you. And it was just the sweetest experience to care for someone who was just so grateful for everything. At a time when a lot of people would, because I do professional caregiving, I see a lot of folks, and a lot of people in situations not nearly as challenging as he has, don't do so good. So I just was really impressed. His spirit and who he was just came through, and it was a pleasure to serve him and Diane, and it seemed like all the caregivers that toward the end, they just loved him, and I know the feeling because, I loved him too. He was just a very sweet being, and I'm grateful to have had that opportunity.
Mahalo to you.
I have to go to another caregiving job, so I won't stay too long.
You have people behind you. I don't know.
This is DJ. I just want people to know that, and that's Jeannie Human. So if everybody would say their name, because we don't all know one another. So do you want to say something? This is our new wedding couple that's going to be getting married in 2 weeks. 3 weeks. Yeah. So, and Sunita and Bo. And my name is Fern. So I know Roger mostly through Diane, I have to say. And Diane has been with us since the early 90s that I know of anyway. And and was involved with our group, with Huna, with our hula from when it started. And and when she moved to the Big Island, was Roger in your life already when you moved to the Big Island? Yeah. See, I don't remember that, but I know they got married on the Big Island, and we saw pictures, and it was so beautiful, and I was so happy for you that you had found this man who seemed to be so giving and loving and caring, and and then I was thrilled when you came back to Kauai, and that you found a house that you could both really love and be with. So, and then I was at the blessing for the house blessing, and was just really happy for you. But mostly I knew him through what you would say about him. And so your attitude has been amazing. I have to say that you have just been a light of loving compassion and taking care of yourself too, knowing that you needed to take care of yourself and come to hula and whatever that would take, and to no small expense on all levels. So I just want to remember you in that situation as well, and to acknowledge you and send our blessings to you and to Roger.
Thank you, Fern.
My name is Michael, Fern's husband. I had most of my experience with Roger through Diane and through Fern. Fern would tell me wonderful stories. I'm sorry I didn't get to know him better. I did meet him one time over on the Big Island. He was still in your house. So, I bless him. I bless you. I bless the whole experience. Life is good. Thank you.
How long, Michael?
Roger's brother and sister-in-law.
Yes.
Their stuff maybe they can't hear. Step into the shade over here. Thank you, Roger.
Step in.
Girls, maybe you could let them sit there while they're reading.
All right. Okay, thank you. My name's Joel. I'm Roger's brother. And as Diane or somebody just said, my experiences with Roger are a lot different from you guys, because they were mostly when we were young and then not so much older. But I made some notes. First of all, my sister, who's 2 years older, my sister Mary Ellen, she's 2 years older than Roger. She's the oldest. It was 2 years until Roger, and 6 years until me. So that's kind of the setup. And my wife, Rhonda, is going to read my sister's memories in a minute. So my memories are mostly from Auburn, Alabama, which is where we grew up. If you've been around Roger during the fall, you probably heard about Auburn, because Auburn has a football team, and he loved to watch Auburn play football. So anyway, we grew up in Auburn. And again, they're 6 years difference, so when Roger was he was in his teen years, really, the memories that I have. And as an adult now, I'm kind of surprised that he would really even play or hang out with a 6 year younger little brother. But he did more than you might imagine. Some of the earliest memories are around sports. Again, growing up in Auburn, football was a big thing. Basketball was also something we enjoyed, and then Roger enjoyed baseball himself a lot more than I did. But we would play football and baseball around the house, either throwing back and forth to each other, or we had some cousins that lived in town, and when they would come over, particularly if it was a football weekend, we would choose up teams and we'd play football in the front yard, and just had a really great time doing that. Our basketball court was a cleared area in the backyard with the goal was nailed to a pine tree, and the court was dirt, and there were some strategically placed roots that if you threw the ball the wrong place, it would go in the neighbor's yard, or go out in the street. And so that was always a fun time, and I'm sure I made many more baskets than I should have because he allowed me to, but we did enjoy playing basketball and football together. Roger developed his green thumb, I think, in Auburn. The first thing really I remember is, again, he would have been a later teen because he was at least driving at this point. Our home, where our house was, our lot was very wooded, so we didn't really have opportunity for a garden there. But the university made available, so at some point in time, an open field, kind of like this field here, where they actually went in and plowed it up and laid it out in plots, and you could pay so much to rent out a garden plot for the summer. We convinced our dad to do that, and Roger and I tended that garden all summer long for 3 or 4 years, I think, and we're both very proud to be able to contribute produce to the kitchen table. A lot of squash, watermelon, cucumbers, which I don't like, but we grew green beans, basic Alabama vegetables. Roger was also into music pretty much of all types as long as I can remember, or for as long as I can remember. He had our bedrooms were adjacent and actually were part of one big room that had a divider down the middle, so we were very much knew what each other was doing in our rooms. But he bought a stereo as an older teen, and I can remember him playing records, quite a variety of musical taste. He liked blues, jazz, hard rock, you name it, and even piano music. He and Mary Ellen, my sister, took the piano and played the piano some. But I would hang out in his room sometime when he was playing music and just talk to him about the band and what he knew about them. And that love for music carried with him through his life as well. He also had a talent for playing musical instruments. The only ones that I really knew about, I guess the time that he was growing up, he played the trombone in high school, and then when he got into college, he started playing the tuba. He played the tuba in the Auburn University marching band. Auburn had a marching band that would actually go to every home and most away games back during the time. This would have been in the 70s. And it was a real tuba, not the fiberglass things or whatever they are that they have today, the white ones. I assume it was brass, but it was silver plated and actually required to be polished, and the band leader required them to polish their instruments every Friday before the games on Saturday, or Saturday morning maybe, depending on time of the game. So I remember him out in the front yard with this huge tuba out there and silver polish and a watering hose, and I would go watch him and talk to him about playing instruments. But they wore also wool uniforms, if you can imagine that, in Alabama. I never understood why, but they were heavy wool uniforms. I guess because the later games were cold, but early games, he would come home, he would just be soaking wet with sweat. But he loved it. Wendy. You will know. Okay, one last musical memory I have of Roger. I kind of mentioned a minute ago that he and my sister played piano. And they both took lessons. I was never really musically inclined other than I like to listen. I never took any lessons, but of course I really kind of looked up to Roger, being my older brother, and amazed at all the things that he could do. So at some point, I don't really remember how old I was or how old he would have been, but I'm pretty sure Mary Ellen, my sister, was out of the house at the time, so he would have been a later teen, and I was probably around 10 or so. But he decided to teach me how to play some very basic piano tunes, which he did, and I don't know what they're called, but the real easy stuff with kind of one finger. And then he put together a program and invited our parents to come sit in the living room while he and I alternated with a concert, piano concert for our parents. We were both kind of proud of that at the time. We had some, or still have actually, some family lake property that we would visit during the summers growing up. And we learned how to ski as teens, and me really slightly before that. But usually we would be up there with our parents. One year I recall that we went up there, Roger and I went up there several days early. Our parents were coming on the weekend, I guess. We were out of school. And we were hanging out, and he was old enough, I was old enough to drive the boat, so I would have been at least 14, so he would have been 20 or so. And we were just skiing and hanging out and enjoying each other. Well, the one of the skis broke. We could only ski on 2 skis. The binding on the ski broke, and so we were down to 1 ski, and we still had several days left. So it was either not do any skiing or learn how to slalom ski. So he and I spent like 2 days pulling each other and falling, pulling each other and falling, without really any understanding of how we were supposed to do it. But we both learned how to slalom ski that summer, and we're happy to be able to show our parents later when they came up that we could both slalom. Lastly, I guess, Roger and I, again, those were growing up memories. We were not really close during his adult years. He moved around and lived in different parts of the country. We would be in touch and talk periodically, but I wouldn't say we were, close siblings. The last several years, I've been over several times to visit him, and really was happy to be able to reconnect with Roger. It was tough to watch him go through what he's been through. A couple of y'all have mentioned already how bad a disease this is. But my memory there is really, and I told Roger this, that I admired the way he approached it. I'm sure Diane did. I never heard him complain once that, why me kind of thing. He just would manage whatever he was managing. Many times he would try to do stuff he shouldn't be doing, and he would fall, or I'd get onto him and he'd get mad at me about getting onto him and so forth. But he didn't complain about the position he was in and what he was having to go through. I'll really forever cherish my fun growing up memories of Roger and my recollections of how strong and how courageous he was in battling this disease.
Mahalo, Joel.
I'm Rhonda. I'm Joel's wife, but I'm reading something that Mary Ellen has typed up for her because she can't be here. So she says, I'd like to tell you some of the things from both my childhood and adult years with Roger that I will never forget. For 4 years, we lived in College Station, Texas, while we were very young, and our dad was getting his PhD at Texas A&M. At that time, the rivalry between Texas and Texas A&M was celebrated with a huge bonfire each year before the game. We loved to go and see the students putting the bonfire logs up for weeks before the actual bonfire. Roger and I loved to swim in an inflatable kiddie pool in our yard with several young neighbors. They were little. They were like 4 and 6 at best.
I was not born until after they came back.
And Roger let us take turns, friends and Mary Ellen take turns riding on his kid-sized green John Deere tractor. And she mentions that Joel still has that tractor. We do. It's a little riding toy at our lake house. Roger and I learned to love root beer as kids in Texas because one of our favorite treats was a baby mug of ice-cold root beer from A&W when our parents would take us. When Dad finished school, we moved back to Auburn, Alabama, where we lived prior to Texas, and that's when Joel was born. Roger played Little League baseball in Auburn at a small park that's still there, He loved to play, and I remember going to watch him. Years later, Roger lived with Mary Ellen and her husband for a time in Memphis, Tennessee. He worked late nights, so he offered to cook some of our dinners. He had quite an imagination with his cooking, and one dish she remembered was a tossed salad, which included tomatoes, lettuce, shredded pepper jack cheese, pineapple, avocado, and ranch dressing. The salad had a flavor all its own. But it was so helpful for him to make meals that were ready to eat when we got home from work, and I was always thankful. Roger loved being outdoors and loved growing all plants. The first year that Mary Ellen and her husband and their daughter lived in Indianapolis, Indiana, Roger sent several beautiful orchids. She says they were a total happy surprise, and their beauty helped her make it through the dreary winter months while she was in Indianapolis. Roger was a very thoughtful person and gave lots of attention to any gifts that he gave, and he could pick out the sweetest cards too. All of these memories make me smile, and I will always remember him with love. I miss him very, very much every day, but I know he's in a better place and at peace with no suffering.
Hello, Rhonda.
I just know Diane, and I love hearing about Roger. And sorry I never got to know him.
I really was blessed to have a few wonderful hour-long moments with Roger. Diane had brought me in about a year before he decided to leave us, and I got to spend time giving him Reiki and body work and always putting on music for him. And one thing that to me just always struck me about Roger is like just a optimistic, just open-hearted, just beautiful energy that he carried with him everywhere he went. And he loved the arts. I mean, this room that I was giving him Reiki in, the room he stayed in, was full of beautifully colored, awesome art that he did for himself. And he just wanted to make the world a beautiful, musical place. And I also want to give just so much love to you, Diane, for the two of you together, but most of all, the kind of person that you were for Roger and Roger for you, because I got to witness that every time I came over to your home. And I'm just so touched by your love and his. And I feel him here too.
Karen.
Yeah. Oh, Karen, I'm sorry.
I'll pass it over. Hi, I'm Karen Joy, and I've known Diane and her sister Ann for a long time. I was only acquainted with Roger, but I always liked him. There's something very charming and likable about him. He was kind, he was grounded, and I love the Southern accent. I have always been partial to gentlemen with a Southern accent. I like that about Roger. And my kid's father's family was from Alabama, and their uncle was Robert E. Lee Norton. Anyway, yeah, I read the obituary. I reread the obituary the other day, and I didn't realize all the talents that Roger had, the athletic and the music, and he was a writer, a couple books he wrote, as well as just being a stellar human being. And I admire you. I love you so much, Diane. You've been so strong and resilient through this. And it's been a joy to dance with you and get to know you even better in hula classes. Thank you.
Aloha everyone, my name is Robert, and I've known Diane probably since like the late 90s, mid 90s, a long time ago. And Magenta and I found out that Roger loved bananas. So we made sure that he had a good supply of bananas, and in return, Diane would give us grapefruits and oranges, and everyone was happy. So today, one way that I'm honoring Roger is pretty obvious. But another way, around a month ago, Diane came over and gave me 3 shirts of Roger's, and he said, "Oh, see if they fit, see if they work for you." So this is one of Roger's shirts.
Very nice.
And anything blue, I'll just grab up like that. So yeah, I had a little bit of time with Roger. Certainly went over a few times when he was housebound and did a little body work on him also. And he was always just very patient and easy to be with. So I honor you, Diane, and so happy that you have so many loving friends here.
Hello, Robert.
So you have to hold this really close like that.
You sound good.
Great. Thank you all for being here. When I remember Roger, I try to remember way back to the beginning because toward the end, I think I might have loved him even more than when he was healthy because he was angelic, you know, never complained. He embraced tuna probably much better than I did about never complain and always focus on what is still working on the positive. But I met him about a year after he moved to Hawaii. He moved here in 2002. He had visited a friend in Honolulu in 2001 and said, "Wow, why am I living in Memphis?" So he sent out a lot of job applications and got a job on Kauai and moved here. And I met him a year later and he came to Huna Talk. You know, sometimes I think Huna Talk was like Match.com almost, you know, we all hooked up together at Huna Talk. But I kind of like guys who were also into this same kind of philosophy that had brought me to Hawaii. And shortly after I met him, we had only gone out to dinner a few times. I went back to my sister Ann's house for Christmas for 3 weeks, for my birthday and Christmas. And every day he emailed me the most eloquent love note, which shocked me because he wasn't really an eloquent speaker. He was almost shy speaking, but put a pen or a computer in his hand, and he was the best writer that I had ever met. And having been a writer my whole life, but more of a journalist, not really a great creative writer, I was so impressed with him, and he was so romantic that I was in love with him by the time I came back. And then I think my first day back, he had helped somebody rescue their cat from under a house and its back was hurting. He met me at the beach and said, "Oh, maybe I better lay down, my back hurts." So I said, "Lay face down, I'll do some kahiloa massage on you." And by the time I was done giving him a kahiloa massage, he's like, "It's Valentine's Day, like next week. Will you be my date? I think I'm in love with you." You know, just from the kahiloa massage. And I have arthritic thumbs now from all the massage I gave Roger, both Lomi and Kahi. But he, you know, was very romantic and touchy-feely. So thank you, Susan, for teaching me all the massage because I won him over. And, you know, throughout our life, when, you know, we were in a writer's group together, you'll hear from Jean Rude about that. She was in our writer's group. I saved every card he ever wrote to me because not only was he the best present giver, you know, as Mary Ellen mentioned, like very thoughtful gifts. He bought me this dress for Christmas last year. Knowing that I love Jam's dresses, he had his caregiver go online to see which Jam's dress she could order for me. And I had not worn it until today, and I'm like, you know, that's why we're all kind of wearing purple, you know, just because I'm like, he gave me this, I'm going to wear it for him. But the thing I miss about him most is how much he loved me. I mean, he was so romantic and so loving. Till the day he died, he was holding my hand and holding my knee and telling me thank you for letting him be at home instead of throwing him in a nursing home, which his therapist said, I can't believe she hasn't tossed you to the curb yet. You know, I don't know why he would say that, but I never would. But I just have so many wonderful memories of us traveling together. We went to Spain for a month, England for a month, and you know, usually when you travel with someone you fight. I don't think I ever had a fight with Roger, ever. You know, he was so sweet and kind, and even when I would, you know, complain about something, he would fix it. You know, so it's a lesson to me, you know, to continually being grateful for what we have. The fact that he was able to be grateful for every day of life until the end. And I'm so grateful to Joel and his sister Mary Ellen, who were with me the last month when he was bedridden with, you know, pneumonia. Joel was there for 3 weeks, and Mary Ellen was there for 3 weeks and stayed with me for a week after Roger died. And when I first met Roger, I remember calling my best friend in San Francisco and said, I met this really handsome guy and he's really nice, but, you know, I'm from New York. I'm not into these southern accents. And she said, give him a chance, you know, because you people from up north who have never been down south don't realize southern men are real gentlemen. And he was such a, you know, southern gentleman, and so is Joel. So my whole attitude about the South has totally changed just from knowing your family. When I went to visit them in Auburn, his parents were lovely. The college town was lovely. I am now an Auburn football fan. In fact, Andy Moore, who maybe you know, sent me a personal text saying you have to sing the Auburn War Eagle song at the memorial, and I don't really know it. All I know is I used to bet on them all the time, you know, because it helped them win and whatever. But yeah, if anybody wants to tune into Auburn college football, it starts at the end of August in his memory. Hopefully Auburn will have a good season. But anyway, this is my sister Ann, who has been so helpful. She's a nurse. Every person needs a nurse in their family. So she not only knew Roger from after our house was, you know, in the midst of being burned down by Pele on the Big Island. You know, Pele was, you know, about to burn our house down. So we stayed with Ann. We stayed with Ann and her husband in their rental home for 3 months while we waited to see if our house would burn down on the Big Island when Pele was taking off in 2018. So she really got to know him well then, and then definitely coming to help me like twice a year. So here she is helping me again. So nice to see all of you, and I really feel like it's a blessing for Diane to have her friends and hula girls surrounding her in this difficult time. So thank you for all being here with her. Yeah, you know, Roger, as has already been said, was truly a welcomed addition to our family as a Southern gentleman, because we're from New York and almost everyone in our family are New Yorkers, and I don't have to explain what that is, but he was a lot less aggressive and loud than most people in our family, and I really appreciated that peace and kindness that he showed everyone. He was a lovely, lovely person, and I did really treasure the time that I got to spend with him before he was sick, but also during the illness when I would come to visit. You know, I can really testify what an amazing, patient, and courageous man he was to you know, can't imagine how somebody could say thank you 100 times a day for every little thing. So it was beautiful, and he really loved Diane, and we
we're so happy that you had that love in your life. And I was actually jealous of all those cards and poems and romantic things that he sent, because I'm married to someone who's not, but it really was very touching. And it wasn't superficial either, even to the end, like you said. If she was going out in the evening, he'd really miss you and want to know that you were coming back to him, which was beautiful. And Diane was very devoted and caring about meeting all his wishes. So that was fantastic. Okay, thank you.
Does it to Blake, our neighbor, because I don't think Michael was sister to me.
Blake and Roger and Diane moved in across the street from us, and that's when I first met them. And over the years, we became close and really good neighbors, to say the least. And everything that people have said about Roger really resonates with me. I feel like he's someone that I grew really close to, and that's not something that's easy for me to do. And we shared a lot of conversations on his lawn about deep things like lawn care and the nature of consciousness, all those things. But Roger was a good example to me of how to carry yourself in the world, especially when he had his health challenges. The last couple of years he was really courageous, and was a perfect example of how to deal with the things in life that are difficult. But I appreciated his friendship and yours, Diane, and I miss him so, and I love him so.
I'm Sandy. And
Talking flower.
what I remember most about Roger is that he was always so kind and sweet, and he just cared so much about being present with himself and with other people, and really caring about the environment. And in his last year, one of the things that he loved the most was just being with friends and neighbors and having chocolate. That's one of the things that he just adored chocolate. And he was such a wonderful gardener, and every day I look at his garden, all the things that he's planted, and I think of him and remember him of what a special, kind-hearted, loving person he was. And he was always curious about what people were doing in their life, and I really appreciated that about him. And I witnessed, Diane's loving, devoted caregiving for Roger over the last 3-4 years, and she has been so present and so loving, and made this transition for Roger a much more peaceful and comfortable process, even though it was challenging for Roger. And so I miss him too.
Hello.
I'm Magenta, and I mostly have gotten to know Roger. Diane, I've mostly gotten to know Roger through Diane, and I just feel grateful and through his kindness. He would come over for Thanksgiving dinner. We have a big dinner for years. Couldn't come over, sent food, and they would send food. And even today I just learned that he loved chocolate. I'm still learning about Roger. I would have given him some more chocolate. Anyway, I've gotten to know Diane through Laura. Just incredible how she's managed caregiving and taking care of herself. You're a real teacher, Diane, how to do this. Unknown territory, underway. I'm so blessed to know.
My name's Fran, and I also don't know Roger well, but I honor you, Diane, for all the love and care that you gave not only to Roger, but to all of us, and the amazing example you've set for how to handle such horrible adversity. Thank you.
My name is Solar, and we love his garden. Great to see it, and get to know him better through Diane and all of you here. Without show or demonstrate an idea of what a great family it can be. Very happy. Been very lucky and blessed. Love. To continue to be feeling. Thank you for having us.
Hi, my name is Susan, and I've known Roger for almost as long as Diane. And he's an awesome person. What a blessing he was for everybody that got a chance to know him. I wouldn't be living in my house if it weren't for him. It was the realtor who found it. And encouraged me to come right away before somebody else got it. So yeah, I'm very grateful for that, but there's so much more. Everybody has talked about how kind he was. I can't imagine how kind he was to an elderly woman, my mother. He was the sweetest. Whenever we get together for Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever, he was always making sure she was talked to and loved. So his big heart was so much bigger than we'll ever know. But this day is an example of gods and goddesses and God himself just up there shining down on us saying, yeah, you created a wonderful world and you're still a part of it because with every memory, he's alive. And we're going to dance for him. I didn't know he loved Kumana Hula. We're going to dance for him. Thanks, Diane.
Mahalo, Susan. I'm Stream, and I don't know what happens when these energies we call our spirits or souls leave these vehicles we call our body. But I can feel Roger's presence here very much, not only in my heart but in all of us and everything around us today. So. And I'm really grateful for Roger to bring this circle together because it's a wonderful reunion for some of us. When Karen and I first came to the island, invited by Fern and Michael, then they introduced us to Serge and Gloria and Susan, and Ayana was living next door. She was Janet then, and Jeannie, and who else is here? That was there then, of course, and Diane, and then got to meet Anne through Diane, and so it's been a lot of years. And anyway, so I feel very blessed with this reunion, and I knew Diane for a long time, but I didn't have Roger for a close friend, but because of my relationship with Diane, I got invited to wear my hat as a physical therapist and visited him several times. I have to reiterate what DJ said, and I mean, considering the challenges he had, I can't imagine any other client I ever worked with that was more grateful and cooperative and hardworking and just wanting to show his love for Diane and Diane show her love for Roger, and one of the really gratifying things that I saw knowing Diane for a long time, it seems like somehow Diane got even much more healthy. Like I don't think it was until I visited Roger that I could enter Diane's house without changing my clothes. So, you know. Anyway, so and I learned a lot today because I didn't even know he was a writer, and I'm a writer. One of my relationships with Gene next door here, so I'm looking forward to reading his writing. And also being from New Jersey near New York, I didn't know today, and I thought Auburn was in Georgia until today. And another celebration of life, which is either today or this weekend, is for Michael Stillwater, who some of you probably knew or knew of, and we're having a Dance of Universal Peace this evening, and we'll celebrate Roger and Michael there. And one song we'll do goes, my soul awakens in the light, and my spirit rejoices in the heavens. And that gets paired with share your love with the world. Mahalo.
Beautiful. Ah. Well, I don't know how many of you have ever been in a writing community, but there's a kind of intimacy that evolves that doesn't happen on a tennis court. But in writing, the lines between fiction and truth kind of blur. And I didn't fully appreciate the writer I mean, really, and I'm enjoying it more now. I think I was in such a place. I was writing a memoir about my grief, and Roger, his edits were always so fabulous to me. He just like, go deeper, tell me more about this. What did this feel like? With so much gentleness that just really always prodded me. We also shared that we both lived in Memphis, Tennessee, and went to the same college at different times. And we shared our Southern heritage about food and cornbread and those kind of things. But I have 3 of his stories still on my hard drive. I've got to remember the names of them. That's fine, I got it. Hang the Moon, War in Heaven, Always an Orphan. Okay? Just the titles could just kind of blow you away. But in scanning them, and I really am looking forward to going back and reading them more deeply now, I came across a passage where he often wrote as if he were a woman. In fact, in one story he describes, I always think of the heroine as the author, and that's not really accurate, but I can't break myself from it. So he wrote himself as a brown-eyed white girl wearing angel wings, a firefighter hat, and a rainbow tutu. And I can really see that, okay? But I came across this passage that I really have to share with you. I knew these things because of the endless summers that I'd spent in the hospital's hospice wing. Eventually, Mother went home in an angel-shaped urn, while I took a yellow cab and a snort of schnapps from the driver. Without tears, I scattered Mother's deafness and burnt bones over the pounding sea. Riding on a strong huff of wind, her ashes blew back in my face and had the last word as usual. Here's to Roger, and the last word as usual.
Mahalo, Jean.
Hi, I'm Ayana. Still Janet, but called Ayana lots of times. I also did not know Roger, except now I feel I do. And I'll just say 2 things. I'm so grateful to know you again. I was acquainted, didn't know you very well, but from the early days of Aloha International here on Kauai, and was happy when you moved back and joined our hula. And I'm just have tears in my eyes, just so grateful for Roger and how he loved you. And what a beautiful thing that is to see all over you. That's one thing, so thank you, Roger. And the other thing is, I'm the last one here, sitting next to Serge, but who I'm so grateful to see Serge and Gloria again here, and Susan is here. I am so inspired in this circle to be a better person. I didn't know Roger, but now I feel like, wow, I'm gonna watch my P's and Q's. You know, I am gonna really try, to be more brave and more gentle with myself. And Gloria shared with me some beautiful hula things just now to help me in my life.
And I am very pleased and honored to have been the one to bring Diane and Roger together in marriage. And the where and how it happened, well, how it happened, you know all that. But where it happened, the most romantic one I've ever done. Imagine yourself, a Japanese hut made of wood, sitting on a Japanese bridge, Japanese style bridge, over a stream, in the gardens of a Hawaiian queen, Liliuokalani. And there they were, being brought together in one of the most beautiful places on earth, two of the most beautiful people I've ever known. Thank you.
And now Pohaku, reach to the earth and bring that slower moving energy of stone inside, like our bones and our teeth. And with the left hand, reach out to La'au, the plants of the world. Look around us, so many beautiful plants, so many healing plants. Bring that awareness inside, that healing. Then reach out with the right hand. Animal kingdom, all the big ones, little ones, and in between ones, the land, the sea, and the air. How much wisdom they have if we would take the time to get to know them. Bring that energy inside. And then, Kanaka, reach out to the wonderful animals of human beings around us and bring our special quality now of aloha, of being able to choose love. That's human being quality. Bring that inside. Okay, so that was the 7 elements. Now we're going to move especially as different forms of water. The first one is water coming down, rapids coming down from the mountains to the sea. Okoi, and that's the motion. It's out. And when our hands get the farthest away, they form a fist, a light fist, and bring it back to us. So we're reaching out and returning, bringing that energy out and back. And we do it 7 times, counting the 7 principles so we don't have to think 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's Ike Kala Makia Aloha Mana Oh no. Now we splash under the rocks as we come down, so we'll go down first. Now that we're at the ocean, it's the rolling waves, so the hand over hand motion, and then a light fish as we come back. Now we reverse the direction of the wave and flow toward you. Now it's Lelebai waterfalls. Imagine that you're at the base of a waterfall and your hands are just floating toward that water, and you reach out and you grab some of that flowing water, the mana of that water, and you bring it back to your navel.
We are doing 3 dances by our Lehua Muhula Kawai Kalani Hewitt. We met Mo Hewitt back in first time back in around 1993 when he was the composer of the luau at the Kauai Coconut Beach Hotel, and Susan went to an open audition, and she didn't get to be in the show, but she did get to meet him and become really close friends. And during that time was when we, under the leadership of Serge, were doing workshops several times a year at the Coconut Beach Hotel. And so this started a relationship, a friendship between us. And then at some point, Kawai Kapu agreed to do a little bit of teaching with us. And so the first thing that he came and he lectured us about dreams, Hawaiian dreams, and what their significances were from his family. And then he talked some about Hawaiian values. And then over time, he agreed to actually teach us a hula, which is the second hula that we're going to do. During that time also, Diane worked for Weekend. Did you work for it? And was doing filming. And so she wound up filming him on several occasions, as well as filming us doing our Aloha International, Huna International stuff. And so that's how we kind of first really got involved with Diane. So this brings us way back. The first hula that we're going to do is called Vaimaka o Poliahu. And it's a song about the goddess Poliahu, who's from the Big Island. Poliahu is not a goddess who lives in the volcano or lives in the mountain. She is that. She is the personification of the ice and the snow on Mauna Kea. Kawai Kapu is particularly entranced by the stories of the Hawaiian goddesses and how they relate to human experience, and especially the kauna, the underlying meanings, the deeper meanings. And so several months ago, many months ago, Diane came to me and she said, when Roger passes, I would really like our halau to perform Poliahu, because it really reminds us that love never ends. Yes. And so in this song, Poliahu starts off, she's very unhappy and lonely because her lover, who came from Kauai, Aivohi Kupua, has left her. And she feels the loss of him and all of the memories that they had, and that's all gone. Those are the first three verses. In the third verse, particularly, she talks about that the memories are all around her, bringing buckets of tears. And then somehow between the third verse and the fourth verse, she has an epiphany. She has a revelation, a realization that those memories that are all around her are hers. They don't have to be unhappy memories. They can be beautiful, wonderful memories of the things that happened. And that she can hold those memories dear inside of her. And that's what she does. And that's what Diane wanted to remind everybody about, as well as herself. Okay. Vaimaka o Poliahu.
Vaimaka o Poliahu, ika e
So the second song is the song that we first learned, the first song we ever learned from Kawai Kapu. It's actually his most famous song. It's been recorded over 60 times by different artists. It's called Kawai, yes. Kawai Lehua A'ala Kahunua. And it talks about the waters that we were just dancing about, the waters of life, and about how the rain falls and then the lehua blossom grows, sacred blossoms. They fall into the sea where they dance playfully along the waves, and then they spread love throughout the land. So the kauna of this song, which he didn't teach at that time, but he did share with us, so I can share with you, is that it also is about a baby that is fertilized into the womb of the mother and grows and plays inside of the mother and then is born and comes out and brings love, which is why we all have our children, is to bring love into the world. So that's the second side. Now, this song, each verse is repeated twice, and on the repeat, he tells the story of the rain falling in the lehua blossom. He tells that in English, so you can listen for that and hear it.
The waters of the sea evaporate and become the rain, and the rain falls to the earth and brings new life.
The last dance that we're going to do is called Aloha Hawaii U'one Hanau. This is an amazing, currently popular song. Talks about all the elements that make Hawaii so very special. Talks about that Hawaii is like a pearl, beautiful pearl necklace that's an adornment to the heavens in the Pacific Ocean. And it talks about how we have everything in Hawaii that you need. So we have the food that grows from the land, we have the water that comes out, and we have the great spirit of the people. And so we ask that this land and its people, and all of us, be blessed. Aloha Hawaii. This is Natalie I.E. Kama'u who's singing this.
have to turn this on. Okay. This song was one of Roger's favorites because of all the places he lived. He lived in Hawaii the longest probably, and I know I certainly did. And he watched me practice this for 9 months last year because we performed it for the Queen at the Amalani Festival. So I practiced it every morning and he loved it, and if I didn't do it, he'd remind me to do it. So this one's for you, Roger, and I want to thank you all for being here, and we're going to have lunch now. So. I'm going to grab my sunglasses from